a teen working the fryer on graduation night, until a single video sparked a nationwide movement. But just when her life turned around, a mystery message appeared. "We haven't met, but I'm your grandmother." What secret was hidden for years, and what's inside the letter that changes everything? Stay with us, and if this story pulls your heart like it did ours, don't forget to subscribe and tell us what you'd do in her place. The tassel still hung untouched from her mirror, but her name was never called on stage. The drive-thru headset crackled. "Welcome to Burger King. Can I take your order?" As Mayah wiped sweat from her forehead and forced the practiced smile, even though inside, she felt like the world had forgotten her. It was graduation night, the night she'd dreamed of for years. But instead of standing in a cap and gown, she was handing out Whoppers through a sliding window. The camera above the register blinked red, recording another shift. But someone else had their camera out too. A customer in a Honda Civic, watching her, frowning, confused, then quietly filming. Mayah didn't notice. She was too busy counting change and hiding the ache in her chest. Her classmates were dancing under lights. Her mom was home folding uniforms for the next week, and her college acceptance letter sat in a drawer, next to bills that couldn't be paid. She'd saved every penny, every late shift, every missed memory. But the tuition clock ticked louder every day. That night, she stood by the fryer, as grease popped like fireworks she'd never see. When the manager shouted over the noise, "Graduation, huh? You made it through school and this place. You're something." Mayah only nodded. She didn't have the heart to explain. She hadn't made it yet. But online, that video from the Honda Civic was spreading. Captioned, "She's working the drive-thru on graduation night. Someone get this girl to college." People watched and rewatched, hearing her voice crack on the speaker, seeing the black slacks beneath her apron, her tired eyes that still shone when she said, "Have a nice night." Comments poured in. Questions, donations, stories from strangers who saw themselves in her. But Mayah didn't know. Not yet. She was in the back, scrubbing trays, when her phone buzzed again and again, until she pulled it from her locker, saw the messages, saw her name. Her hands shook. She scrolled. Faster and faster. $500, $2000, $11,400. She blinked. Once. Twice. She didn't cry. Not yet. Outside, the night air smelled like fries and summer. And she stepped into it. The same girl. But everything had changed. Then her manager walked out, phone in hand, and said, "You better check this out, kid," he said, eyes wide, and handed her the screen. Mayah stared, mouth parting slowly, as she saw herself, frozen in the thumbnail of a viral video. Captioned, "Meet Mayah. She worked instead of walking at graduation. Let's change her life." A chill ran down her spine, the kind that starts in your chest and makes your knees feel like water. The comments kept rolling. "She reminds me of my sister. I was her once. She deserves this. Where do I donate?" She looked up at her manager, who just smiled and said, "You've got the whole internet behind you now." Her phone buzzed again. A message from someone named Rachel, college counselor from the university she wanted to attend. "Saw your story. Let's talk about scholarships." Mayah covered her mouth, heart pounding like the bass from a party she'd never attended, fingers trembling, not from work, but from hope. A car pulled up to the window, and she almost missed it, but instinct kicked in. "Welcome to Burger King," she said, voice softer this time, a little unsteady. "I'll be right with you." The driver leaned closer, and through the open window, a woman in sunglasses smiled and said, "Actually, I'm here for you." Mayah froze. "Excuse me?" The woman held up her phone, showing the donation page. "I'm part of the team that started this. You inspired thousands of people, and we're not done." A single fry slipped from Mayah's hand, and she just stared. "You've got a college fund now," the woman said. "And it's growing by the minute." The headset crackled behind her. Orders waiting. Customers honking. But Mayah was no longer just a worker in a paper crown. She stepped outside the drive-through window, sun hitting her skin for the first time all shift, and watched as car after car began to pull in. Not for food, but for her. Phones up. Horns honking. Strangers smiling. Applauding. She stood there, still in her grease-stained uniform, eyes wide, world spinning. Then her mom's car pulled in last. Slow. Quiet. And when the window rolled down, her mom's voice trembled. "Baby, is this real?" Mayah didn't answer. She just ran to the car, flung the door open, and whispered, "I think my whole life just changed." Her mother pulled her in, arms tight. The kind of hug that said, "I've been holding the weight too, and now it's lifting." Tears slipped silently down Mayah's cheek. Finally, after holding them in through every shift, every missed dance, every ignored dream, a cheer rose behind them, from the growing crowd in the parking lot. Some filming, some crying, some just standing there, stunned. It wasn't about fast food anymore. It was about a girl who never gave up, and a world that, for once, saw her. Suddenly, the woman in sunglasses walked over. "Mayah, we've been in touch with your future school. They're watching all this too." She handed her a sealed envelope. Simple. White. But heavier than it looked. Mayah turned it over, slowly peeled it open, and her breath caught in her throat. Inside, a letter, on university letterhead, and at the top in bold, "Full tuition scholarship award." Her knees buckled slightly. Her mom caught her, and they both sank to the pavement, laughing, crying, holding the paper like it was made of gold. The cameras zoomed in. People whispered. Others shouted with joy. Then a young man stepped forward, holding a graduation cap. "Someone from your school dropped this off," he said. "They said you earned it more than anyone." Mayah took the cap, hands shaking, and slowly placed it on her head. The crowd erupted. Cars honked. Someone played Pomp and Circumstance from their speakers. And Mayah stood there, in the Burger King parking lot, in a paper apron and a real graduation cap. Then, from behind her, a voice called out, "Mayah." She turned and saw her principal walking across the lot, in dress shoes that didn't quite match the gravel. He held a small black folder, the kind given out at ceremonies. And though the Real diplomas came later, this one had her name on it. He reached her, a little out of breath, a little misty-eyed, and said, "I'm sorry we didn't celebrate you earlier, but we're here now." Mayah stared at the folder, then at him, then slowly took it with both hands, as if it might disappear. The principal smiled and nodded. "You've reminded all of us what perseverance looks like." The crowd clapped again, not the polite kind, but the full-throated, feet-stomping kind. The kind that says, "We see you now." Her phone buzzed again. She looked down briefly. A notification. "Your college fund has reached $87,950. Another buzz. Another message. "National news request. Can we tell your story?" Mayah lowered the phone, looked at the sea of faces, at the woman who started it all, at her mom wiping tears with the edge of her t-shirt. She took a breath, not the tired kind, but the one that comes just before everything changes. Then someone in the crowd shouted, "Speech." She froze for a second, eyes wide, then stepped forward, still wearing the apron, still smelling like fries, but standing taller than she ever had. She looked out over the parking lot, the cars, the strangers, the hope, and opened her mouth to speak when a loud screech echoed from the road. Everyone turned. A beat-up blue pickup truck pulled in fast, brakes squealing, dust rising. The door slammed open. A boy jumped out, Letterman jacket, tassel swinging from his mirror. Mayah's eyes widened. "Jaden." He jogged toward her, grinning, breathless, holding something behind his back. "You think I was gonna let you have a graduation moment without me?" he said, then pulled out 2 sodas from behind his back. One with a paper straw bent, one already sweating from the heat. "I was on my way to the after-party," he said. "Then I saw your face on every phone in the world." She laughed, something between joy and disbelief. "You brought me a soda?" He handed it to her. "I owed you from junior year, remember?" And just like that, everything came rushing back. The hallway talks, the missed prom, the shared dream of going to college together. He nodded toward the cap on her head. "You wore it better than all of us." Mayah blinked hard, tears forming again.
But she didn't wipe them this time.
She looked at the crowd, at Jaden, at her mom, and finally,
she spoke.
"I wasn't supposed to be seen tonight," she said, voice clear,
but soft.
"I was supposed to be in the back, making sandwiches. But you all showed me that it doesn't matter where you stand. It matters what you stand for." The wind picked up slightly, lifting the tassel on her cap. The crowd leaned in. "I've worked every night, missed every dance, cried in silence so many times I lost count. Because I didn't want my story to be a sob story. I wanted it to be a start." Jaden nodded, eyes locked on hers. "I don't know what tomorrow brings," she said. "But tonight." Her phone buzzed again. The woman in sunglasses stepped forward, eyes wide. "Mayah, you need to see this." She handed over the screen, and on it, a live news broadcast was playing. CNN, centered on a split screen. On the left, Mayah's viral video, the headset, the drive-through window, the moment she smiled despite it all. On the right, a suited anchor saying, "And donations have now crossed $125,000, with messages pouring in from every state, and even abroad. America has found its newest inspiration." The screen switched again,
to a video call.
A woman with silver hair, and a Harvard logo behind her. The anchor continued, "We now go live to Dr. Elaine Foster, Dean of Admissions at Harvard University. Dr. Foster, you've been watching?" Mayah's jaw dropped. Her hands trembled around the phone. The dean smiled, soft, warm, and said, "Yes, we've all been watching, and we'd like to officially extend Mayah a full ride offer to Harvard's incoming class, if she'll have us." The crowd exploded.
Gasps. Cheers.
A shout so loud a flock of birds lifted from the trees nearby. Mayah nearly dropped the phone. Jaden caught it. Caught her hand, too. Her mom sobbed into her palms, knees buckling again. A cashier from inside the restaurant screamed. And someone popped a balloon that no one remembered bringing. But Mayah, she just stood there, silent for a long moment, then finally looked up and whispered, "Yes." The reporter on screen smiled. "And Mayah, just one more thing. You've got mail." The screen cut to a video message. A grainy but familiar face. It was her father. Mayah froze. She hadn't seen him in 4 years.
And now,
he was looking into the camera, eyes glassy, voice raw as he said, "Pumpkin, I saw the video. I know I haven't been there, and that's on me, but I want you to know, I've never stopped being proud of you, never stopped loving you, and tonight the whole world sees what I always knew." Mayah's breath caught in her throat. Her fingers gripped the phone tighter, as her father's voice, cracked and unsure, continued, "I don't expect forgiveness. Not yet. Maybe not ever. But if this message means anything, I just want you to know, I see you now, and I'm cheering for you, from wherever you'll let me stand." The video faded to black. Silence. Thick, heavy, full of 1,000 things left unsaid. Mayah stood still, as if time itself had stopped around her. Then slowly, she lowered the phone, her chest rising, falling, and finally, she turned to her mom. The two locked eyes, and Mayah asked quietly, "Did you know he'd see it?" Her mom shook her head, tears still streaking down her cheeks. No, baby. But maybe it was time he did. Jaden stepped forward again, offering her the soda, still untouched. You okay? He asked. Mayah looked at him, then out at the crowd, the cars, the setting sun stretching long shadows across the pavement. And for the first time, she felt it. Not just the love, not just the noise, but the weight. The world was watching her now, waiting for her next step. So she took a breath and said, I think I'm ready. Jaden smiled. The kind of smile that says I've got your back, no matter where this goes. She lifted the soda, toasted the sky, and took a sip. As the crowd roared again, behind her, someone from Burger King held the door open. Shift's over, Mayah, they joked. You're off the clock and on the map. She laughed, really laughed, the sound echoing through the lot, as if the universe cracked open just wide enough to let her light in. Then the woman in sunglasses stepped closer again, phone pressed to her ear. She handed Mayah a slip of paper. Last surprise, I promise. A national morning show wants you in New York. Tomorrow. They're sending a car. Mayah blinked. Tomorrow? The woman nodded. Flight leaves at 7 a.m. You'll be live before breakfast. Her mom's eyes went wide. Jaden's jaw dropped. Mayah looked down at herself. Grease-stained shirt. Burger King name tag, still clinging to the fabric. Then she looked back at them and said, I'm not packing anything from this job, but I'm taking everything it taught me. The headlights flicked on from across the lot. A black SUV pulling up slowly. Windows tinted. Driver in a suit. Mayah stepped forward. Heart thudding. Soda in one hand. Her diploma in the other. The crowd parted like a tide. The driver stepped out. Opened the door. She paused for just a second, turning back, taking in every face, every flash, every bit of sky over the Burger King that became a stage. And then, she stepped into the car. The door closed softly behind her, muting the cheers, the sounds, but not the feeling. Inside, it was quiet, cool, the leather smooth beneath her fingertips. Her phone vibrated once more. A new message on screen. Subject, speaking invite, White House Education Summit. She stared at it, eyes wide, lips parted. The driver glanced at her in the rear-view mirror. You okay? He asked, gentle. Mayah looked up, smiled almost in disbelief, and whispered, I think I'm about to be. The car rolled forward, passing the golden arches of Burger King one last time. As the crowd waved, faces lit by phone screens, and headlights, and something bigger, hope. Jaden stood at the edge of the lot, watching her disappear into the night. Hand raised, eyes proud. Mayah leaned back against the seat, closed her eyes, and let the hum of the road carry her. Because for the first time in her life, she wasn't driving toward survival. She was driving toward something else entirely. Something she hadn't dared to name until now. A future she had built, one shift at a time. The city lights came into view ahead, and as the driver switched lanes, Mayah opened her eyes again and saw the skyline rising like a promise, steel and glass glowing beneath the night. Each window lit like a star, each one whispering, you belong here now. Her phone buzzed again, a different sound this time. FaceTime. She hesitated, then answered. Rachel, the college counselor, was smiling wide, screen slightly shaky. Mayah,
Just wanted to say.
we've reserved your dorm, and your roommate already follows you on TikTok, she laughed. She says you're a legend. Mayah blinked. Wait, what? Rachel grinned. You've gone beyond viral. You're trending on 3 platforms. And you've inspired a whole scholarship fund being set up in your name. Mayah sat up straighter. Asterisk my asterisk name? Rachel nodded.
Yeah.
The Mayah Grant, for students who work through high school and don't get seen until someone holds up a camera. Tears burned again, but this time, they didn't fall from pain. The SUV pulled off the freeway. City sounds growing louder, closer. like a heartbeat rising with hers. The phone crackled a bit as Rachel added, "Oh, one last thing. There's someone waiting for you at the hotel." Maya's brows furrowed.
Who?
Rachel just smiled. "You'll see." The call ended, and as the SUV rounded the final corner, Maya saw the hotel tower ahead, lights flaring gold. A doorman stepping out as if he already knew her. The car eased to a stop, and before the driver could even open the door, it swung wide from the outside. And standing there, in the glow of the streetlight,
Was.
a woman in a navy blazer, clipboard in hand, eyes kind, but sharp, like someone who sees potential before it blooms. She smiled immediately, the kind that felt like both a welcome and a warning. "Your life is about to change." "Maya Williams?" she asked. Maya nodded, stepping out of the car. Tight grip on her phone, diploma still tucked under her arm. The woman extended her hand. "I'm Andrea Moore, producer for Good Morning America. I'll be guiding you through tomorrow's segment." Maya shook her hand, voice caught somewhere between breath and disbelief. "You're with the show?" Andrea nodded. "We wanted to meet you tonight, walk you through what to expect, let you settle in." Then her voice softened. "And there's someone upstairs who insisted on seeing you before you sleep." Maya's brows pulled tight again. "Who is it?" Andrea just stepped aside, gesturing toward the hotel doors. "You'll understand when you see her." The lobby glowed like something from a movie. Polished marble, chandeliers like upside-down galaxies. Maya followed Andrea through the quiet space, past bellhops, business travelers, tourists too distracted to realize they were brushing past a girl who worked a grill just 24 hours ago. They reached the elevator. Andrea pressed the penthouse button. No words spoken as the floor numbers ticked higher. At the top, a soft ding. The doors opened into a private suite, dimly lit.
Quiet.
Andrea stepped back, letting Maya enter alone. The air smelled like lavender and something familiar, but she couldn't place it until she heard a voice from across the room. "I was hoping I'd get to meet the girl everyone's talking about." Maya turned slowly, and there, sitting on the edge of a grand couch, legs crossed, smiling gently, was Michelle Obama. Maya froze. Her mouth opened, but no words came out, only a shaky breath. As the First Lady, former First Lady, stood up, graceful, radiant, commanding but warm. "I've been watching every second of your story," Michelle said, stepping closer. Eyes locked on Maya's. Not through a screen, not from a stage, but right here, face to face. "You reminded me what resilience looks like," she continued. "And more importantly, you reminded this country what strength in silence really means." Maya's heart thundered. Her fingers curled tighter around her diploma, suddenly feeling too small, too ordinary. But Michelle reached out and gently placed a hand over Maya's. "You earned all of this," she said, not like a compliment, but like a truth. And then, almost whispering, "Do you know how rare it is for a girl to carry her dreams and her family and not break under the weight?" Maya swallowed, her voice finally surfacing. "I didn't think anyone saw." Michelle smiled. "Baby,
They see you now."
Then she reached behind the couch, pulled out a small box wrapped in deep blue ribbon. "I brought you something," she said. "Not because of the money, not because of the media, but because I believe in what you're about to do next." She handed Maya the box, hands trembling. Maya untied the ribbon, lifted the lid.
Inside was a pen.
Simple,
Sleek.
with a presidential seal engraved near the tip. Michelle leaned in. "This was given to me the day I signed my first education bill as First Lady. Now, I want you to use it when you sign your college enrollment papers." Maya blinked back tears, her lips trembling as she tried to speak. But before she could, a knock sounded at the suite door. Another visitor. Andrea peeked in, apologetic but urgent. "I'm so sorry, but there's someone else here." who flew in tonight and says he's part of Maya's story too. Michelle looked toward the door.
Curious.
Maya's brow furrowed. She stepped toward the entrance.
Slowly.
The door creaked open, and standing there, in boots dusty from travel, with a guitar slung over his shoulder,
Was.
a man with a scruffy beard, baseball cap low, and eyes that sparkled with recognition. Mayah, he said, voice deep calm. A little nervous, like he wasn't sure he should be there. She blinked, heart stuttering. Wait, are you?
He smiled.
And nodded.
Yeah.
I'm Luke. Her brain scrambled, trying to place him. Then it hit. Luke Ryder, the country music star, the one who shared her video, with the caption, asterisk, she reminds me of my little sister. Let's send her to the moon. Asterisk. He stepped inside, guitar still slung across his back. I was in Nashville, mid-recording, but I had to come meet you. Michelle Obama chuckled softly from behind. Well, this room just keeps getting better. Mayah was speechless again. Luke continued, you gave so many kids hope last night. And that's worth singing about. He unhooked his guitar, sat down on the edge of the couch, and started strumming a soft, low tune. I wrote something. On the plane over, he said, eyes flicking up to meet hers. It's rough, but I think it belongs to you. The chords rose. Gentle.
Slow.
A song forming right there in front of her. Musical note. She wore grease on her shirt, but dreams in her eyes. Working late, while the world passed her by. But hope don't wear diamonds. And grit don't shine gold. She cashed in her silence. For a story retold. Musical note. Mayah's breath caught. Michelle wiped a tear with her finger. The music hung in the room. Every note floating, like it knew it had found its home. Luke looked up again. Soft smile. This is just the first verse. The rest, we write together. Then the hotel phone rang. Andrea picked up, listened, then turned to Mayah. The car for GMA is downstairs. They're ready whenever you are. Mayah stood there, surrounded by voices, by heroes, by people who believed. She looked at the pen in her hand, the guitar in Luke's, the eyes of a first lady who once rewrote history. And she realized, this wasn't just a chapter anymore. It was the beginning of a whole new book. She stepped toward the door, heart steady now. But then, her phone buzzed again, and on the screen, a single message appeared, from an unknown number. It read, we haven't met yet, but I'm your grandmother, and I have something you need to know. Asterisk, asterisk. Mayah froze mid-step. The lobby around her blurred, the message glowing like a flare in the dark. She read it again, slowly,
Carefully.
as if it might vanish between blinks. We haven't met yet, but I'm your grandmother, and I have something you need to know. Asterisk, asterisk. 1,000 thoughts crashed at once. Her grandmother? She only knew one, and she'd passed when Mayah was 6. Was this real?
Why now?
What could she possibly need to say tonight of all nights? Michelle stepped closer, reading the change on Mayah's face, gently touching her shoulder. Something wrong? Mayah held out the phone. Silent. Michelle read the message, brows furrowed, then looked up. Do you want to call her? I don't know, Mayah said quietly. I didn't even know she existed. Luke stepped forward, his voice lower now. Sometimes people wait for the right moment to reach out. Maybe she saw her moment in you. Mayah nodded slowly, thumb hovering over the screen. One message could change everything. Again. But before she could respond, a second text appeared. I have a letter from your father. He wrote it before he left. And you need to see it before you leave for New York. Asterisk, asterisk. Her heart dropped. Letter? Left? Her father had disappeared without a trace. No goodbye. No answers.
And now,
This stranger, this grandmother, was holding something he left behind? Mayah swallowed hard, looking between Michelle,
Luke.
Andrea. The car was waiting downstairs. National TV. The country watching. But here, right here, was a thread, tugging at the past, pulling her towards something unfinished. She stared at the message and quietly said, "Tell the car to wait." Michelle nodded once. No questions, just support. Andrea stepped aside, pulling out her phone to make the call. Luke sat down again, softly strumming the same chords, eyes watching her, but not pressing. Mayah took a breath, opened her messages, and finally typed, "Where are you?" 3 dots appeared on screen, blinking, blinking. Then, room 1123. "I'm at this hotel. I've been here all night, watching the lobby. I didn't want to scare you. Asterisk, asterisk." Her legs moved before her thoughts caught up. Pen in one hand, phone in the other, heart pounding. Down the hall, past hushed voices and gold-framed mirrors, until she reached the door. 1123. Her hand hovered at the handle, and just before she knocked, the door opened, and standing there, eyes rimmed red, wrinkled hands shaking slightly, was a woman in a faded blue dress. She looked just like her father, and, in her trembling hands, was a worn envelope, with Mayah written in a slanted, familiar script. Mayah's breath caught in her throat. The world narrowed to that one envelope, the way her name curved on the paper, as if it had been written slowly, carefully, like a final truth someone had been afraid to tell. The woman looked at her, voice soft, but thick with emotion. "I've waited a long time to give this to you." Mayah swallowed hard, eyes locked on the envelope, but her voice came out barely above a whisper. "Are you really my grandmother?" The woman nodded.
Yes.
"Your father, Elias, he asked me not to come around. Not while things were complicated. But I watched from afar. When I saw the video,
Saw you.
I knew it was time." Mayah took a shaky step forward, not sure what she was feeling, only that it was too much, too fast, and somehow,
Still exactly what she needed.
she reached out, took the envelope with both hands, her fingers brushing the edge of the woman's hand.
Warm. Real.
She stared at the name, the familiar scrawl, her father's handwriting, and for a second, she was 8 years old again, waiting by the window, wondering why he never came back. The grandmother spoke again, carefully. "I don't know what's in the letter. He sealed it the night he left. Said it was for when you were strong enough to carry more than just the weight he left behind." Mayah nodded slowly, eyes glassy. She stepped back from the door, letter tight in her grasp, the past finally catching up. Not to punish her, but maybe to free her. "I need to read this alone," she whispered. The woman understood, said nothing more, just placed a hand on her heart, and gently closed the door. Mayah stood in the hallway, lights buzzing faintly overhead. She looked down at the envelope again.
Then, carefully,
She broke the seal. Inside, a folded sheet of paper, and something else, something small and metallic that slid into her palm.
a key.
She stared at it, confused, then unfolded the letter. And at the top, in her father's familiar voice, handwritten, "If you're reading this, Mayah, it means you've done what I never could. You made it." Mayah stood frozen in the hallway. The sounds of the hotel faded, as her father's words pulled her into a place between memory and present. "I left not because I didn't love you, but because I thought I'd already failed you. I didn't know how to face you growing up without enough, without the time, the money, the peace you deserved." Her fingers clenched the letter tighter, the key still pressing into her palm. "But I watched. I followed every report card your mom posted, every honor roll photo, even found your school's graduation live stream. I was there, in the parking lot, but couldn't bring myself to get out of the car." A tear slid down her cheek. Silent.
Hot.
"I asked my mother to keep this letter. And this key. It opens a small safety deposit box back in Milwaukee. It's not much, but inside is everything I saved. Every single dollar. From every odd job I could find, hoping someday You'd still chase college, even if I couldn't walk beside you. Her breath shook now, as she leaned against the hallway wall, eyes skimming the final lines. Backslash asterisk backslash asterisk. I didn't give you what you needed growing up. But maybe, just maybe, this can help you write the future I always dreamed for you. And Mayah, if you ever find it in your heart to forgive me, I'll be the first to clap when you change the world. Backslash asterisk backslash asterisk. Signed at the bottom.
Dad.
The letter slipped slightly in her hand, as the key sat warm in her palm, and the truth of everything settled softly in her chest. She didn't cry like before, not from pain. She just closed her eyes and whispered, I forgive you. Back in the suite, Michelle and Luke were waiting. Andrea held the door. The morning was closer now, but Mayah, she stood a little taller, a little lighter. She folded the letter carefully, tucked it into her bag, and pressed the key against her heart before slipping it into her pocket. Then, she turned, walked slowly back toward the elevator, the future waiting below, the lights of New York blinking awake outside the windows. And in the quiet of her soul, where doubt used to live, was a fire, steady,
Bright.
and finally,
Free.
the elevator doors opened with a soft chime, and Mayah stepped in.
Alone.
She pressed the button for the lobby, watching the numbers count down, the hum of the descent like a lullaby for the past she was finally laying to rest. When the doors opened, Michelle looked up from her seat and smiled, as if she already knew, as if she could feel it, that something had shifted in Mayah's spirit. Luke stood beside her, guitar slung again, and Andrea gave a small, warm nod. You ready? She asked. Mayah nodded, not just with her head, but with her whole being. She wasn't the girl in the drive-thru anymore. She wasn't the girl who missed graduation, or who quietly folded fries into wax paper while the world kept spinning without her. She was the girl who was seen now, heard, believed in. She stepped through the lobby. Flashes sparked from behind the glass doors. Reporters already gathering. Producers signaling from the waiting SUV. And in the chaos, Mayah walked steady, past the velvet ropes, past the whispers, past everything that once told her she couldn't. She opened the car door herself, looked back one last time, at the hotel, at the night, then climbed in. The city rolled past in a blur, taxis honking, morning runners weaving through crosswalks, a barista inside a corner cafe pressing foam into a heart shape. And Mayah watched it all. This city that once felt too big, now fitting in the palm of her hand. At the studio, they ushered her through the back entrance, mic'd her up, combed her hair, dusted her cheeks with powder that made her glow. The lights dimmed. The theme music rose. And from just off camera, a voice counted down. 3, 2, 1. The host turned toward the camera, smiling wide. Good morning, America. Today, we bring you the story of one young woman who flipped the script on what it means to work hard, dream bigger, and inspire a nation. They cut to a montage. Her video, the parking lot, the graduation cap, the hug with her mom, the song with Luke, the letter. And when they came back, the camera panned to her.
Mayah.
Hands in her lap, back straight, eyes bright. The host smiled gently and asked, Mayah, if you could say one thing to every kid watching right now who feels invisible, what would you tell them? She paused. The lights seemed to fade behind her. The studio fell quiet, and the world leaned in. Mayah looked directly into the lens and said, You're not invisible. You're just getting started. The studio held still for a moment.
Just a breath.
And then, applause. Not staged, not forced, but real. From crew members, from anchors, from people in the control room wiping their eyes. Mayah smiled, not out of nerves, but out of something deeper. The quiet knowing that her story, once hidden behind a friar, now lived in the hearts of millions. After the segment, the host leaned over, still live, still rolling, and asked, softly, "What's next for you?" Mayah turned to her, eyes clear, voice calm. "I'm going to college. I'm going to take that scholarship. And everything I've been through, the work, the silence, the sacrifice, and turn it into something bigger than me." She paused, touched the pen in her blazer pocket. "And one day," she added, "I'm going to build something for every kid like me who almost didn't make it through the drive-thru." They cut to commercial, but her words stayed, lingering,
Alive.
Later that afternoon, Mayah stood outside the studio, bags packed, ticket to Boston in her hand. The car pulled up quietly. Not a luxury SUV this time, but a modest black sedan sent by the university itself. Her mom stood at the curb, tears in her eyes, arms already outstretched. Jaden showed up too.
Late.
But on purpose, holding a notebook filled with drawings for the nonprofit they'd been dreaming of since junior year. They hugged,
Tight.
unspoken things passing between them like warmth in winter. Then Mayah climbed into the back seat, looked once more at the skyline, the place where her story changed, and whispered to herself, as the car pulled away, "Let's go start the next one." The city disappeared behind her, but her voice remained, echoing.
Quiet.
True, because somewhere, in another town, another teen was punching in for their night shift. And maybe, just maybe, they'd see her story. And no, they weren't invisible either.